Hello there, EDISON players. I'm at YCS Lille and I'm sitting here with Luke Anthony, who just finished top 8 at the Ultimate Time Wizard EDISON format. Luke, what deck did you play?
So I played Force today, so I played the UK version, so nobody else involved. So just the suite of Fox on the tree, no future heroes.
Okay, let's see it.
So start with the main deck. So we've got triple substitute. Obviously the protagonist, the main guy in the deck, he kicks off all your combos, all your frog plays. So if you don't see the fishbowl, you can still play the game as long as you find substitute. If you don't find this, you're in trouble. But we all know what he does. Then in terms of sort of the frog lineup, I'm on tree swap. So this guy, obviously he's quite good for setting up the combos. And then sort of can play into them as well, being able to bounce himself or other guys to hand, either the substitute to keep it safe for another turn, or another monster that if you want to reuse a highest post board, or bounce himself just to get an extra normal summon out to finish on a better board, depending on what you're looking for. Then we are on 3 dupe frogs. So some lists do cut this to 2, but the card is so powerful. It's a good starter if you miss your swap frog or your substitute, because it can obviously search out the swap frog. It can block attacks, especially against aggressive decks like Blackwings or Machina, things like that. Most of their sort of standard turn 1 plays run into 2k defense and can't beat it. And then as soon as you get the second one on the board, or dupe plus sub, it becomes very, very difficult to get around. You can't destroy the guys by battle. With 2 dupes, you can't attack at all. So really useful. And then search effect also very useful. So one play that you can do that people are sort of less aware of that comes up a lot in this deck is if you've got a dupe frog on the board and you bring a swap frog from the deck, effect to send can also send a frog from the field. So you can send the dupe frog, activate his effects, get the search. You can either search the deck or most sort of commonly in this is to recycle a Death Frog. So if you used all your Death Frogs and you need another one, you can take a -1 to bring it back to hand, bounce the swap frog, maybe pitch it for fishbowl, and then tribute summon with your extra normal summon off of the swap frog. It's a really useful combo that. Then obviously we're on 3 Des, so this is sort of one of the main combo pieces to make sort of the bigger synchros, so anything 6 and above. The fishbowl and a Des will make a level 6. Fishbowl plus a Des plus a tree ball will make a 7, plus a level 2 will make an 8, plus a level 2 and a tree ball will make a level 9. So you can make pretty much all the bigger synchros with the Des Frog. It's also quite useful if you have a board with sub and tree ball or something, and you're up against a Whirlwind Shura Search Kalute. You can tribute off your guy, bring out the Des Frog, attack the Shura. They can drop the Kalute, but the substitute will protect the Des Frog. So they're going to go -1, whether it's 1 from the board or 1 from the hand. So that's another useful play you can do with the Des Frog. Then we are 2 Treeborn maximum. There's not a lot of main deck Crow, but you want to see this card. So you sometimes don't open your swap or dupe frog, and you're relying on sort of hard drawing into the Treeborn to get it into the graveyard. And also if you do face a main deck Crow or any other banish, if one of your Treeborns gets banished by Caius during the game, you've got a backup there available.
You need a second one, yeah.
It's also useful for your double armory arm plays, because I don't play the Elder Frog, so you kind of need the second Treeborn. If you are doing a play where you can't use the substitute as a synchro material, you can have a Treeborn out in your standby phase, substitute fishbowl, start running through the combo, use one for the armory arm, and then you can do that dupe frog play sort of later in the turn if both your tree balls are gone. The dupe into swap, send, and then add the tree ball to hand, bounce, pitch for fishbowl, and then an extra normal summon. And that lets you get your second armory arm a little bit more easily. And then we're on Tech Frog, so we're on 1 flip flop. Really good defensive card. If you get this alongside a dupe frog or with a dupe block or a sub block, it becomes really difficult for your opponent to play the game. You can get rid of the fusions and the synchros, and if you're ahead on the board, any of the decks that want to set monsters suddenly can't play against you, because every turn they'll set a guy, you bounce it to the hand, it's like down. So the most obnoxious boards you can make are the ones that look like, this plus a Stardust Dragon. It becomes really, really tough to break. And then the last froggy is the Unifrog. So this guy's generating me a lot of value over the course of the day, or the 2 days. Attacks directly if you control another frog, you get to pop the back row. I've had Disco +3 today. popped 2 back rows, and my opponent brain controlled it, attacked me directly, and hadn't read the card properly, didn't realise he didn't get to pop the back row, so I had to give it back, and then sort of moved on from there. That sort of probably was the turning point of that match. Then we're on 3 fishboard. There has been some discussion about whether you should play less than 3, but I think that's totally out of the question. It's a combo piece it's the least searchable one of your main combo pieces. So it's just 3 of these, 1 for 1 and Foolish that can get it. So I think playing the maximum copies makes a lot of sense. Not much to be said about this card. It's a reusable tuner, great extender. It turns any card into your hand into a potential threat effectively.
Yeah.
Then we 2 dandelions. These just again extend your combos massively. You discard this for a fishboard or for 1 for 1. You get your 2 tokens on the board. If you have a substitute or you search the substitute off the 1 for 1, suddenly you can turn a discarded dandelion into 2 frogs, and then that could be, in worst case scenario is double des frog, just hitting stuff. Best case scenario is you start going through your big combos and really doing a lot of damage and potentially ending the game. Spells are very straightforward. We've got 1 more monster, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Deck's very light on defense, apart from what you played directly onto the board. So outside of your do block, sub block, and flip flop frog, there basically is no defense. So Gauze really saves the game in a lot of cases, and it's also very good for the deck wins a lot with Colossal Armory on. So if you can bait them to play into that by leaving an empty board, you can drop the Gauze to protect yourself from OTK, and then you can go into that Colossal Armory arm as long as you've got the back row sweeper or they're sufficiently light on defense. You can just go through that and bait them into it. So spells, very straightforward. So we are playing all of the draw spells. So we're on 3 Avarice. So obviously Substitute plus anything lets you set this up as many times as you want in a turn. You don't always do that. It's sometimes worth holding on to, so you can reuse your do blocks if they get broken, reuse your flip flops, etc. We are on 3 Morea Breed, just helps with the consistency. If you get those hands with the Des Frogs in them that you don't want, you can shuffle those back into the deck, or if you're trying to complete a combo and you've got all of your swap frogs in the graveyard and you need one to finish the game, salvage into Moray will put that back in the deck. With swap frog, it's as simple as salvage and then pitch them special summon. But there are examples where you want to shuffle a guy back into the deck in order to sort of continue extending.
Yep.
We are on 3 salvage. This again. It's a straight +1, same as Avarice, which really helps when you're trying to go through your guild combos, because the number of cards that you have determine how many sort of synchros you can make and what plays you can do. And it hits most of the monsters in the deck. The only ones you can't get with the salvage are the Des Frogs, the Dandelion, and the Gauze. Everything else, straight +1, get stuff into the deck. Lets you set up with swap frogs, swap frog plus any small frog. You discard the special summon, send the substitute to the graveyard, and then you can salvage both back and start comboing off. So obviously really useful. And if you get deck devs, this is the card that saves your life. Deck devs, just everything in this gets hit by it pretty much. Then our combo starters, so we've got our 1 for 1 and Foolish Burial, which can set up our substitute, Fishbowl, and the Foolish can also set up the Dandelion if you just want to use it as a +1. Then back row removal, Storm, MST, Trune, nothing needs to be said about those. Obviously if we're against the clear back row, our chances of ending the game are much higher. And then Brain Control, it's mainly used just to start off a sub combo when you don't have board. You can take their guy and set up a combo. There are times when you can almost kill them but not quite. If you've got Brain Control in hand, maybe rather than waiting, you just put them low and then wait on the Brain Control to finish the game for you. Trap's nice and simple. The game's all about turning card advantage into kills, so it's just 3 Reckless Greed.
Oh, just 3 Reckless,
That's it. So draw your 2 cards, gives you an extra card to play with, and that gives you an extra extender to sort of finish the game. So that is the main. Side deck, the strategy is, so this is the Alistair, Adam Sheck side deck strategy. So same as the main deck, it's entirely their list. So it's the Triple DD Crow. So this is a change from the original list, which ran an additional Z Prison, a Trapstun and a Kaiku. These switched out for DD Crows to respect the mirror match. They're also useful into Vayu because you can stop the turn 1 deck dev, which can really cook you, or the Plague Spreader, things like that. It doesn't come in against a lot else other than the mirror match and Vayu. I don't think I've sided it in against anything else at all. You may side one in occasionally for sort of rogue graveyard strategies like zombies, but it's usually just the 3 of in those 2 matchups. We are on 3 Caius, so it's the conversion side, so I'll get the whole lot out. So it's 3 Caius, 2 Breaker, 3 Regeki Break, 2 D Prison, Mirror and GT. So this is your 12 card conversion, and then with the DD Crows for Vayu it's the 15 card conversion. What we're trying to do with this is A, make the deck more resilient to deck devastation virus by picking the bigger monsters, and B, we're siding out to Royal Oppression, Fossil Diner, Mask of Restrict, Floodgates that really give us a hard time, Vanity's Fiend as well, Christia. These sort of cards can deal with the monster based Floodgates, and then the Regeki Break sort of deals with everything, and these can deal with spell and trap based ones. Players can deal with both as well. So that's sort of the conversion side strategy for aggressive matchups that are likely to side into hate. Then other matchups you can do a much lighter side deck strategy where you keep a lot more combo pieces in the deck and you're really just still aiming to finish the game quickly with a Colossal Armory Arm or a big board into an empty opponent's board. So move on to the extra deck. So this is the only other thing that changed. So what we've done here is discussing this a little bit with Adam the night before the event. With the changes to time, we cut this out because now if you go to time it's a double match loss, so there's no use in gaining.
There's no incentive to
So the 2 we were considering were, well, the 2 main ones we were considering were the Exaber Urbellum and the second Colossal Fight, which is what we went with. There's also consideration for the second Stardust Dragon or an Ancient Fairy Dragon if we were expecting Grave Keepers or sort of random rogue strategies like that. But we've gone with the second Colossal Fight. So Mistworm doesn't come up frequently, but there are times when it's more efficient than Bryanak. So I summoned this once over the tournament. 2 Colossal Fighters. The second one lets you kill with a Colossal Arm through Necro Gardener, so they can aim block 1 attack, and then the second Colossal Fighter will finish the job. Stardust sets up the obnoxious board for Duprog. Red Dragon, sort of a hedge against Gigavise. Can be used against the sublock without double Duprog, things like that. But I didn't summon instead. I did consider it once, but it didn't sort of come through. Thought Ruler, just a generic good level 8, really. Deals with targeting effects. The other useful thing this can do is if you're too low to perform a Colossal Armory Arm loop but your opponent's played into it and you've got 3 additional cards, you can make this first as long as they've got a guy on the board that you can run over, gain some life, and then have enough to sort of finish them off with the Colossal Arm. Black Rose, quite straightforward. So I didn't use this guy today, but he's got you can find a lot of random lethals with him. There's a couple sort of on the fork spreadsheet that's quite well known where you can go through an Amaryllis with 2 Armory Arms on this guy and that's an instant kill, or through a defense position Lila with a swap from to finish off. But there are also other, if you get them to Solemn Judgment at some point, then this can kill over quite a few of the sort of defense position guys as well. Like especially in Black Wings, you can get over a Sirocco for a huge amount of damage. Gaia Knight. So this is mainly for if you're comboing into an empty board and you don't want to finish on Bryanak because you don't want to get back to my brain control, then the stable ones, there's not really much to be said about. You're obviously playing these guys. This is a major part of all of the combos, most of the combos. And then Catasta, Android, just like your generic level 5s. Neither of these came up for me, but they have done in the past, and they use, Catasta's useful for dealing with specific threats, like an onboard Judgment Dragon that you need to get through, anything like that, and then of course the double Armory Arm for the anti-K players.
Okay.
That's it for the extra.
That was it. Luke, is there anything else you'd like to say? Any shout-outs?
Of course, yeah. So first of all, big shout-out to my fiancée Sarah. She's at home on her own this weekend and she's a little bit lonely, so also I can come and play Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm glad I did well because it made it a little bit more worthwhile. I'm looking forward to seeing her when I get home. Big shout out to Adam Sheck. So he's the one who put me onto this deck. I came to Birmingham and was sort of spent most of the time with his group because I was there on my own. So I got to see him play the deck a lot, and I have previously thought about it, but sort of thought it's not really my style of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm known as a Blackwing player. I'd like to stick to Blackwings, but it was watching every time he summoned a Treeborn Frog in the standby phase, and I was sort of just, that's so powerful. It's just a little guy, and it just gives you so much free advantage, and that's what sort of got me into it. And he's been really helpful, sort of coaching me on how to play the deck, giving me access to all of his DD ladder replays, tournament replays, everything. So I've really used that resource to sort of learn what I'm doing. Big shout out to Joe Surridge as well, who's travelled with Adam to the event today, and they've both been sort of hanging out with me while I've been here on my own because none of my boys could make it. Who I also want to shout out, so that's Jamie, Scott, Joe, Gary, Paul and Louis. They're sort of my training practice buddies. We don't practice a lot, but when we have time, obviously we're busy adults these days, but when we have time we get some games in, and shout out to them as well.
Okay, Luke, congratulations on topping the Ultimate Time Wizard. Thank you for the deck profile.
Thank you.
And good luck with the rest.
Nice one, thank you very much.